As a fourth-generation entrepreneur and business owner, I know the grit and grind that it takes to run a business. With Chingon S.A, we're capturing stories from other local business owners and community leaders to highlight them for you, our querido community of San Anto. From the culture, for the culture. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chingon S.A. I'm Luis. I'm the host of the show, and I am super excited today to welcome the CEO of the YMCA of Greater San Antonio, Mr. Lopez. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Our guest today is a proud San Antonio native who grew up in the south side of San Antonio. We won't hold that against him. Who got his start right here in our community. He's a Holy Cross High School alum. Lewis has dedicated his really almost his whole life to 25 years of service to the YMCA, and now serves as president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater San Antonio, and notably the first CEO of color in the organization's 148-year history. Known for his servant leadership and deep commitment to community health, Lewis has helped expand access to programs that impact families across the city, from healthy living initiatives to partnerships with UT Health, the city of San Antonio, and of course, Ciclovia. He's a first-generation college graduate, visionary leader, and true West Side product. Lewis continues to champion equity, wellness, and opportunity for the people of San Antonio. Thanks again for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And just to share our 27th year. This is my 27th year working with the YMCA, over half my life, which is crazy. Yeah.
You don't even look it, man. You look like you started right out of the womb.
Yeah, well, I thank you for sharing that. I feel like it sometimes, and sometimes I feel like I'm a lot older.
Yeah, of course. Now, you haven't spent all of your 27 years at the west side of San Antonio. You went away for a little bit.
That's correct.
You got some experience at the C-level suite, or what is it, C-suite level, and then came back when you got the role of CEO. So that's been 2 years now?
We're going on year 4. So,
man, time flies fast, man.
It has gone by. It's been great to be back. But to your point, in 2018, I was offered an opportunity to go to Austin to serve as the chief operating officer. Although, never wanted to leave home. I knew if I wanted to be president and CEO, and the ultimate goal was to come back and do this here at home, I knew I had to go and experience a different environment, go prove that I could be successful in a different organization and with a different community. And man, this was during the tough year, right? We got there and things were great, and COVID hit, and then it was rebuilding. And but I loved my experience. I loved the community we were in. And then the end of 2022, I received this appointment, was able to come back and start leading our YMCA Greater San Antonio as our president and CEO, and just completed 3 years last November.
Man, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Now, I mean, even in your time when you were in Austin, I mean, you still had family here.
That's
you
right.
came back quite a bit, still involved in the community. What did you miss about San Antonio when you were gone those couple of years?
I miss the tacos. Let me
Good.
settle the argument. To my Austin friends, I'm sorry I shared this with you. It's not something I wouldn't say to them. And my son as well. I mean, we missed obviously the food, and I'm half joking with that. My mom, my dad were still here. My mom passed shortly after I left, but my dad was still here. My oldest daughter was here with her family. My wife's family was here, so just missed family. I mean, luckily we were only an hour and a half away, so we could come back as we needed to and as much as we wanted to. But the culture is just different. And, I share with people, I think the best way I could describe the difference in the culture is, when you're in San Antonio and you meet someone, and it's like after you start talking, you're going to ask at some point, what area of town did you grow up in?
Right.
What high school did you go to?
Right.
In Austin, it's different. I mean, there are a lot of people that did not, at least at work downtown, and the people that I got to interact with, there weren't very many that grew up in Austin and that were now living their professional lives in Austin, which, isn't bad or indifferent. It was just different from what I was used to.
Right.
And also with the rich culture and just that richness of what I grew up around. I mean, I really love our community and our culture here. And That's what I missed, and luckily I didn't have to be away for too long.
Yeah. I always feel like the difference between San Antonio and Austin is almost like traditional versus modern, right? I feel like San Antonio is deeply rooted in traditional values and just the way that we operate. I mean, it's a little more slower paced, and Austin is, I think, by nature a little more fast paced and a
Hmm.
little more modern. It's a much younger city than San
Yeah.
Antonio. Um, and so, they're kind of like our little stepbrother, right? Not that I'm trying to, cause a riff or anything like that, but I love San Antonio, man, and I love to see, that you were able to come back and
Yeah.
get in that role, dude. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So let's dive in real quick. What I want to get to first is, obviously, you grew up in the south side of San Antonio. You went to Holy Cross. What I'm really curious about is how do you feel like those experiences, your early experiences, shape, the work ethic, your grit, and the way you lead today as a CEO, for the YMCA.
Yeah, great question. And I'll go back to just the way we're raised around culture, the importance of lessons that were taught and that we learned, and I look back and I dig deep into those still in many of the things I do today, decisions I make, um, on where I see our vision for our organization. And now, I have much more influence and the ability to help influence change in how we serve our communities. But a lot of those lessons are things I learned from my parents, from my aunts and uncles, and really just from that culture that we're used to.
Yeah.
But I'll also share, one of the things that is important to me, is we didn't see a lot of people in CEO roles or leadership roles when we were growing up, right?
Yeah.
And I'd never thought about becoming a CEO until probably maybe 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, because I just never saw, there weren't a lot of folks that I saw that looked like me in those roles, and I just had never been exposed
Yeah.
to it. Right now, after working for the Y for some time and going to different conferences and seeing people in leadership roles and people talking to me about, hey, this is something that you could do also if you wanted to. Well, that started changing my perspective and things that I thought I could do. But, one of the things that is sometimes discouraging to me, but also gives me hope in what we can influence change on is, our community and our culture is just as smart as anyone else. We could do just as much as anyone else,
Yeah.
but there is something to lack of exposure and lack of access, right? Because a lot of times we only know what we see and then
Yep.
we only know what we know. So, for me, when I think about the responsibility I have in this role and some things that I want to help kind of impact change on, I want young individuals and people to look at us, look at the role I'm in and say, hey, I can do that too,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
because
for
that
sure.
person looks like me and that matters. But those are also things that I have this strong responsibility and calling to from the way I grew up.
Yeah.
And to say, hey man, we were just as good, just as strong, all of our family members just as smart. But there's a thing to what you see and what you believe you can do as you're growing up through your learned and lived experiences.
Yeah, that's awesome. You and I've known each other
Yeah.
a long time. I served on the board of directors when you were the
Yep.
executive director at the
Yeah.
Westside YMCA. But even before then, I don't know if you remember this or not, but you were a coach at Holy Cross
Yeah.
for a
I
period of
was.
time, and man, I can't remember what grade it was, but I had you as a coach
Yeah.
for a semester, and so we go way back,
Yeah. That's right.
known each other for a long time, and I feel like even some of those experiences, your what I was really curious about was, like how who is someone that you looked up to, um who helped to kind of push you along, and then who came alongside you later in life as an adult to say you can do
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I'll say first and foremost, I mean, my parents, right? I mean,
Yeah.
my dad was always one that helped to instill respect in us, helped to instill, right? I mean, whatever we do, we do it to the best of our ability. To have that strong work ethic, I tell my kids this all the time. I mean, I think that's our superpower,
Yeah.
right? Is that we have whatever God gives us as far as our God-given talents, but the one thing that we do have control over is how what we do with them and our work ethic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we effort and work ethic are things that we can control, and I think that's one thing that was instilled in me at a very young age from my parents and from my family. Now, as I grew older, I mean, to your point, I mean, the I had some people that were super influential in my life and that were positive role models and also help kind of believe in me and push me and from coaches at Holy Cross that I love sports. I love what sports can do for individuals, from helping you become a leader to facing adversity to working within a team. And I got a lot of that as I experienced my high school athletics career, and then even outside of
Yeah.
athletics, right? I mean, those relationships that we have from just having that brotherhood and
Yeah.
people that I can call after to ask questions about, help me navigate decisions or things that I was going through. And then as I started with the Y, I had some very influential people that believed in me and said, "Hey, if you want to, there could be some growth for you." But they also were super open and honest with me on things that I needed to get done.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that from someone not just telling me, "Hey, you're great and I want to support you," but saying, "All right, I think you have potential, but here's the deal, it takes a lot more than potential
Yeah.
to achieve and to reach what I believe you can do." And one of those major things was me going back to school later in life and getting my degree, if I was going to try to pursue this
Yeah.
CEO role.
Yeah, because I mean, like you mentioned just a minute ago, it wasn't until about 15 years ago that you felt like, yeah, this is something that I want to strive for, this level,
Yeah.
in my career that I want to shoot for. And so what was that ultimately the thing that drove you to go back to school and finish your degree?
Yes, and I mean, I think there was a couple things that really were hard on my heart and kind of on my mind at the time. I mean, my kids were young. I have three children. My oldest being 33, my middle 26, and my youngest 19. And my wife and I would always talk about education, the importance of education, but I wasn't going back and doing it myself. So there was this piece of me that felt like, okay, well, if it is that important, then I should probably,
Yeah.
put my money where my mouth is and go back as well. But it was also after a discussion, a meeting I had with my existing CEO at the time, that he said, I think you can do anything you want to do, but you're gonna have a ceiling. You're gonna hit a ceiling if you don't go finish this.
Yeah.
Um, and so with both of those and the timing, and I'll tell you what, man, it was at later in life, having three kids, being busy with work, I didn't want to go back to school. That was the furthest thing from what I wanted to do. But I did realize if I am going to honestly encourage my children that it's important, and if I really wanted to make this an option for me as a career, I needed to do it. So
Yeah.
I went back, and it was a long, miserable 2 years to finish. But I was super proud of myself for getting it done, and my wife did the same. And now two of my children already have degrees. My middle one's going for her advanced degree. My youngest is now in school on his first year. So I do believe that
He's in
changes.
college?
Yeah, man,
Oh my
19.
God.
He's not that little guy that was running
I
around the West Side
know.
Y way
I
back
know.
when. But he's just finished his first semester, doing great, enjoying school, and I do believe that what they see and what we show them through what we model, it matters. And
I have this super vivid memory of little Lou at I remember, one of the things that we did together when I was sitting on the board was a toy drive for Christmas.
yeah, yep.
And I have this very vivid memory. He was probably like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, but he was just started walking. And I saw him running in to the gym where we were hosting the
Mhm.
thing, and he ran right to you. And he had this big old smile on his face, and I always remember that. It's such a vivid memory that I have of your little kid. But that's the vision that I
Yeah,
have of
man.
Lou, man.
And unfortunate, all my kids were raised around the Y. They were all in YMCA programs. I mean, the Y, I started with the Y when I was 25. So the
Yeah,
Y raised me too,
sure.
right, when we
Yeah,
were young. And all of them were, daycare, day camp, volunteering with me. Where I went, they went. So
yeah.
they all worked for the Y as well. So
Really?
yeah, man, it's been, my son Lou says it's the family business. We've
That's
all-
so
we've
true.
all we've all done it, and then they've gone on to do other things. But that's one of the things I love about what I've had an opportunity to do within the
Yeah.
YMCA in my career.
Yeah, and Autumn is now working for the Y still.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's working with the Y, finishing her master's program at UTSA,
good
and
for her, man.
yeah, my oldest daughter's married, 3 children. We got three grand boys, and doing great in her career. So yeah, I mean, we're super blessed.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned earlier was that how sports also kind of played a factor in your getting into leadership and learning that kind of thing. Your kids are no strangers to
Yeah,
sports as well. I mean, Lou was a big time football player at Holy Cross, and Autumn went to play volleyball
that's
at
right. Yeah.
at her undergrad. Um, how do you think those? I mean, first of all, did you push them to want to do that, or was that something that was kind of instilled, or that they just wanted to do
Yeah.
naturally?
We made it an option, right? They played everything when they
Yeah,
were little, and then as they got older, they started leaning towards, you know, mm, I love basketball. I played basketball. I still do participate in,
yeah.
kind of old, slower basketball. But it's funny that neither of them wanted to play basketball. They played when they were little, and then they ended up. Autumn did volleyball, and Lou was football and track, and Autumn did all kinds of sports. She did track as well, but I don't think that we didn't overly push them, but it was important for them to be involved and do something. And when they were younger, we exposed them to all kinds of things, from piano to tennis to I don't care what you're in, but you got to be involved in something,
Yeah,
like,
for
right?
sure.
I mean, it's important, and the
Yeah,
lessons and the extracurricular things, that they're just important. They're
yeah,
important to help mold you. And our oldest was involved in lots of things as well. So I we were a sports family, no doubt.
yeah.
But yeah, I tried to push them into basketball. That never stuck.
Yeah, same man. I have an 8-year-old son, and we tried t-ball, baseball for 4 seasons, and he at the end of the day, and my retirement plan, right, was that he was gonna go and play in the major leagues, and I was just gonna follow him around.
That's a good
Uh,
plan.
yeah, it didn't work out so well for me. After four
You
seasons, he
you
was
still
like,
got time. How old is he?
he's eight.
All
He's eight.
right.
Hopefully he falls in. I mean, he loves watching the game of baseball,
Yeah.
but not playing. Man, he's too. He needs more action.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
T-ball, especially at that age, that it's boring when you're out in the outfield. So it's tough. I get it, but it was really sad for me when he didn't want to play anymore. So I got another question for you. You've spent over 25 years at the Y. Became the first CEO of color in its 148 year history. Man, that is mind boggling, right? The
Yeah.
fact that in 148 years, in a town that is, I mean, we're the majority, right? That it took that long for someone of color to be in a role like you're in. What was your drive? What was the perseverance, or what kind of perseverance did it take to reach that milestone, especially when a lot of times you might have been the only person of color in the room, or one of the few in the room, right? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, well, when we're celebrating our 150th anniversary this year as a YMCA in San Antonio, so I want to kind of give a shout out
Yeah.
to us. When I was hired in 2022, right, they had 148 years, and I had the honor and the distinction of being our first our first CEO of color. And I attribute that to today to our board, and our board recognizing that the timing and finding the right person, but also that they have that thought of diversity in thought, and that we needed a strong leader. And I want to be seen as the right leader,
Yeah,
right, the right CEO, and
absolutely.
not just the CEO, the first
You're
CEO
not a
of
token.
color. That's
Right.
right. Um, but I will say that it's an honor and it's a distinction that I don't take lightly and a responsibility that that I know is important. And I think the important parts is that others are looking, right? Other people are watching, and our
Absolutely.
younger people are watching. And so for me, it's perseverance has been something throughout my entire career that I have to show up differently. I have to show up more prepared. I sometimes had to make sure I look different. I gotta show up suited and booted and ready to
Yeah.
ready to
Yeah. Yeah.
to work. But that's not anything different than what just my work ethic is anyway. But there have been times where it's been more challenging than others. But now, I am thankful that in San Antonio, there's more of us now that are in top leadership roles that are Latinos and Latinas. And, again, I think for me, I certainly am thankful that our board of directors gave me the opportunity. They hired the right person for the job. And, I might be the first leader of color, but as long as I'm not the last,
Yeah.
is the more important part.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really I'm been really anxious to ask you this question. What is one program in the last 4 years that you've been CEO at the Y, that you're super excited about, that maybe you implemented, that's changing the landscape of the Y? Like what is one program that you're just really excited about?
Yeah, well, I'll give you more than one because there's a few
Go
that
for it.
that I think, well, one that I'm super proud of that we've been putting a lot of effort and energy into. But one of them is our work around mental health. We're providing licensed counseling sessions within all of our YMCA's. We're working in middle schools and SAISD to add a social and emotional learning component. When you think of the Y, and I wasn't sure this was a space that we were supposed to be in offering counseling services at our YMCA's. But today, I am more sure than ever that this is a part of what the Y should be known for in our communities. And I'll tell you why. I mean, I think when I think of holistic wellness, I think of our spirit, mind, and body, right? And it's great when we see adults and families and know that our staff feel like they have access to licensed counselors to work with through whatever they may be going through.
Yeah.
But we know that um, our times today, right? There's more anxiety going on. It's more amplified, and people need that support more than ever. And I love that people are finding it at their YMCA in their communities. And I think where we have found the secret sauce is that it's not in a clinical setting. You're just
Mm.
coming to your Y,
Yeah.
right? Just coming to your Y,
Yeah.
and you can work out physically. You can still get your spiritual needs met, but you can also get your mental needs met. And I think that's really cool. And I think we're going to continue and grow and continue to meet people where they're at, and helping this be an option for them at their Y. A couple other things that I'm just super excited about that you'll start hearing more of. But we have a partnership with Morgan's Wonderland and Morgan's in general. But we will be building a YMCA on their campus that will be the first YMCA that provides this ultra accessible distinction, where meaning that you'll be able to walk in and see people of all abilities in this YMCA. And the design was super thoughtful on how we make sure that there's specialized equipment, the facility and the built environment is designed with individuals in mind that may have special needs or disabilities. And we're also taking over their absorbing the adaptive sports programming. So the Y will be offering all inclusive sports, para sports, adaptive sports,
Wow.
and this is all in partnership with Morgan's. And I think where this partnership is just so great is they're experts in this space, and we're experts in the youth and wellness and those
Yeah.
spaces. And
Yeah.
independently, we're doing really, really good work. But how when you put us together, God, the we can just serve and impact so many more people and
Yeah.
scale this across all of the counties that we serve and that we're in, and then also right be a blueprint for the country,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
to say here's what we've done in San Antonio through this amazing partnership. Let's help other YMCA's, other rec centers be able to do this same thing and not just building buildings, but changing the culture on how all of our staff are prepared and trained to embrace a community that doesn't have a lot of resources
For sure.
many times. And so I'm thankful for Gordon Hartman and Morgans for being trailblazers in that space, but we're excited to now join them and do even more. And then the last thing then these are all kind of new things that we've accomplished in the last few years. The last one that I've just been super excited about because it is kind of special and hits home is we're doing a lot with Alamo colleges and specifically Northwest Vista. And one of the programs we're doing to help support parents wanting to go back to school later in life
Mm.
is we're doing on-site childcare. That parents can come in, they're enrolled, they come in, they can have dinner with their kids, then they go off to class. The Y's there to take care of their
Kidding.
kids. Yeah, man, take care of their kids, help them with homework. You come back from class, you collect your baby, you go home, and all this is done. And if we can help minimize some of that barrier, some of that that challenge for folks that I know personally, right? What
Yeah.
education can do to change the trajectory of your life and your
Yeah.
family's life.
Yeah.
How cool is that? So, we're doing a lot of other cool things, but those are probably three of the ones that I'm most excited about as we're entering into this next year.
Man, that is so awesome.
Thank you.
That laugh program specifically. I mean, my sister is a perfect example of that, right? So, she's a single mom, has two kids, and she went back to school in the middle of COVID, no less,
Ooh,
to get her bachelor's degree. And I told her, "You're crazy. Why are you doing
yeah,
this? Like you don't." And obviously she had her reasons for wanting to do it, but I couldn't see that, right? And I was discouraging about it
mm,
because she didn't have the childcare. She was gonna have to rely on, you know, my mom or other help to try and get childcare so that she could go to school and do these kinds of things. Now it's a little different with COVID. She could do more online type stuff,
yep.
but man, what a value that is that you guys are providing to those people in those positions that want to be able to go back to school and just like you said, I mean, make it just a little bit easier for them to be able to do that.
And this is, when we think about workforce development, right? And when you think about, like, I love Alamo colleges, their moonshot, kind of goal is to end poverty, right? How cool is that, right?
Yeah,
But but the one thing that I believe is you can't think about workforce development without thinking about childcare,
right.
and
You have to.
yeah, you have to. And that's where I believe, like us as a Y, where we can come in and help to really support some of these major initiatives and not have to lead them, but come in and say, I mean, here's what we can do and what we do well, and then collectively, God, I think we can change the world. So
Yeah, for sure.
this is just a great example of where those partnerships that that align and what we're trying to do for our communities really can really have a major impact.
That's awesome. Um, as your work continues in the health and access, we think about Ciclovia and how I mean, because you were here still at the time when Ciclovia was started, and the Y was paramount in that initiative. But also, to thinking about the healthy living initiatives that we've just kind of gone over, what motivates you to kind of keep pushing forward, even when the work, is long term, but you don't necessarily
Yeah.
see the impact right away, right? Like you're talking about this program with Alamo colleges. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
So when you don't see that the results right away, how easy or how hard is it for you to continue wanting to reach for these goals long term?
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think if you're watching and you're watching the looking with eyes wide open, it is easy to see some of these
Mm.
results.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to go to the Northwest Vista College graduation last year, and Dr. Amy Bosley, who's the president there, she says, first generation students, raise your hand, and 80% raise their hand.
Wow.
She said, people who are parents and you're graduating with a certificate or a degree, raise your hand. God, 50, 60% raise their hand. So, there's these major impacts happening, right? And we know that has this ripple effect, not just on their
Yeah, it's
lives getting
generational.
better right now,
Yeah.
but the lives of their children and the
Yep.
people around them. So, I think if as long as we continue to see it from that perspective, that one of the biggest things that I think we miss when we're trying to improve people's lives is one looking at it from this whole ecosystem of what else is needed,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes it's not like it's not just people working out to get healthier. I mean, there's these other factors, right? We gotta help people fulfill themselves spiritually and mentally. You can't just work out and eat everything you want and
Yeah.
you think you're gonna get healthier,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there is this kind of ecosystem of all of this to improve people's lives systemically, but also generationally.
Right.
So I do see change immediately when we start changing the whole system. But I also think that one of the biggest barriers is accessibility, right? That there are sometimes some of these cool things are not accessible or an option for some of our uh, individuals, our families, our people in these different communities. So that excites me. That gets me. That drives me. Where if the Y can be a part of helping to make something more accessible and truly accessible with eliminating barriers, well, I know the return is going to come for sure.
Yep.
100%, right? I
Yep.
mean, it's not a invest and let's hope there's a return.
Right.
We invest and we know there's going to be a positive return. And the return is not just one person. I mean, this could be something that happens to them, their entire family, generations to come.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that personally, and I've seen that on individuals that have went through our programs and through programs that we get to partner with.
Yeah, I remember when I was on the board. I remember one of the programs that I was, pretty excited about. And I don't know if I don't even know if you guys still do this, but there was, and I think it was in partnership, maybe with HEB, where you guys had a cooking program, right?
Mm,
And it was to help families understand that there was a healthy way to eat,
yeah.
but also to stay enriched in our culture, right? You still had all the spices, you still had all the flavors, that you were looking for, but to eat just a little bit healthier, and even those small steps, or those small changes that someone would make, meant that someone didn't grow up with diabetes, right?
Yeah,
With
that's right.
Because that's a huge factor in our community, is young people growing up with diabetes.
Mhm.
And so I've always, really enjoyed the why being, innovative with those kinds of programs. Do you have any programs that are upcoming? I mean, you've talked about some of them, but is there something that you want to get support behind, and you're excited to push forward?
Yeah, I mean, so we still offer healthy living programs. I mean, I think that's something that that's still going to be important and critical for us as we're helping people through their health and wellness journey.
Yeah.
I think the spaces right now that trying to really gain momentum on and stay focused on is our work in mental health. I mean, we are just scratching the surface, and there's a lot more need than there are counselors and hours that we have right now. So that's going to continue to grow. We are providing a major service and outlet and a place for our aging community. I
Sure.
mean, there are a lot of seniors. We serve about 30,000 seniors a year,
What do
right
you guys
there.
call them? The silver
It's,
silver
well,
sneakers?
well, it's called our Forever Well
Oh,
program
forever.
for us,
Okay.
but Silver Sneakers is like an insurance term.
Oh, got it.
That's what
Okay.
some of
Okay.
them
Got
call them. But you're not wrong. I mean, that is, we call it Forever Well, and that encompasses all of our kind of aging community.
Yeah.
But man, they're active, right?
Yeah. For
And the
sure.
things that we're providing for them at the Y is a place to avoid isolation, for them to connect.
Mm.
They work out for 30 minutes, they have coffee and hang out for a couple hours,
Yeah.
right? But that connection is important. It's
For
critical for
sure.
them that may be widows or widowers now, or maybe families not around, or their friends, their circles get smaller. Well, at the Y, they get to still continue to have that connection
Yeah.
with others that are their same age and their community. So our senior work is that excites me, and my dad's one of them. He goes to the Y, and right, but it's important for me to make sure that he has a place as well,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
So again, I get to experience this differently because it's not just me doing this or us doing this for uh, aging adults that I don't know. I mean, these are folks that my
Yeah.
aunts go there, my
Yeah.
family goes there, but also this new inclusion purpose of how do we make sure that we truly are there for people with all abilities. And that's exciting for me because I think that's going to help us serve individuals that we just haven't done a good enough job in making sure that we're there for. So, all of these programs and continuing to put and innovate some of these other things that we've been doing for 150 years. And, the one thing I think we've done well, you don't survive 150 years without doing a couple of things right. And the one thing that I think we do right is we stay relevant. And I think the way we do that is we ask questions, right? We consider where there's gaps in our communities, and then we respond, right? We respond to those gaps as needed. And we have evolved from 1876 when we started to the programs that we're doing today, shoot,
Yeah.
from 10 years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
from what we're doing to how we're serving our community today. So I think we'll continue to do that, but I think that is what has helped us stay relevant in our communities.
Nice. So we've talked a lot about the why. I wanna bring it back to you for just a minute. The last question that I have for you is about legacy, really. Um, when all is said and done, for your family, for the community of San Antonio, what does legacy look like for Luis
Yeah.
Lopez?
Yeah, I think that's simple. I mean, I think when I think about the why, I hope my legacy is that I had an opportunity to influence and impact young people's lives to think that they could to have an option of saying I could be in that leadership role. So I hope that I have that kind of impact for some of our young people in our culture. For the why as well. I mean, if we are financially thriving, if we're more inclusive, if we're continuing to invest in people, and if we're in more of our communities to make sure that we're accessible and an option, that's what gets me excited, and that's where I hope when my time is done in my career that the why is. Personally, I hope when people think about me and think about my leadership that they thought I led with the servant heart. I hope that they think that I did. My legacy was not built around building programs or facilities, but it was built around building people.
People.
That it was investing in others, and that was something that people knew was important to me, and it wasn't just something I said, but it was something that you could see in decisions I made for organizations and for myself. And then the same for my family. I hope that they're proud that I was able to help impact change, right? Change in our culture and the things that I had an opportunity to lead and be a part of. But it's I'm excited about the work I get to do and the people I get to do it with, and folks like you that I mean we're doing it, right? I mean, and I
Yeah.
think it's our responsibility to
Sure.
say what else can we do for those around us.
Absolutely. I love that, man. And I'm sure you I'm sure you get told this all the time and you don't need to hear it from me, but I cannot tell you how super proud I am of you and how proud your community is of you and what you represent for us. And we're excited to see you back. I know you've been back for a while, but we're excited that you're back and that you're doing it, man. That you're putting in that work. Can't tell you how excited we are about the future because it's in good hands ultimately,
Yeah, thank
right?
you.
So yeah, man, thanks for coming on the show. As we kind of wrap up, I know you guys, the Y is celebrating 150 years this year. What are some events? Tell us about some events that are coming up that you guys are gonna celebrate and
Yeah.
just kind of make it a big deal.
Well, certainly want people to keep an eye out because we're gonna be showcasing all of these as these events are coming up. We have a big culmination celebration on September 26th. So
Okay.
I need to make sure I share it with you so
Yeah,
you can share it out,
absolutely.
but also so you could be there. But as people want to learn more about our why, we have a storytelling booth that's really cool. That will be it'll be taken around the city
Nice.
because we want people that whose grandmas, whose parents, when you learn to swim. I mean, everyone
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
like they have a wise story, and we're
Right.
archiving those so that we can be able to share these stories from 150 years. I mean, how cool is that, right?
Yeah,
To
for
say
sure.
we're a part of that milestone and that birthday. Um, but we'll be doing more activations. We got some really cool ones that we'll be sending out here soon. But to stay connected with us, it's YMCA-SA-TX 150 150.org to stay connected to all the cool things that are coming up. some videos that we've made, the stories that we've archived, and then these big events that'll be coming. So coming out shortly, the biggest one, September 26th. Make sure you get on your calendar.
Sounds good.
And that'll be our big birthday celebration.
We'll make sure to put the link in the show notes. YMCA SATX
150.org.
All right, we'll be sure to put that in the show notes for our audience to find. Luis Lopez, thank you so much again for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Chingon S.A. My name is Luis. We'll see you guys next week. This has been an LIS Studio and Serafina Digital production. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show on your favorite platform. And tell a friend about the show by sharing this episode on your Facebook and TikTok. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or someone doing really cool things in San Antonio and want to get your story on our show, email us at luis@lealinsurance.com.